The Nintendo Gamecube, home to classics like Super Mario Sunshine, Resident Evil 4, The Legend of Zelda, Windwaker, and more. Sure, the console didn't sell well, who cares? Nintendo pulled the nose up and they're doing okay today, don't you think? The GameCube's path crossed with the world of professional wrestling on multiple occasions. Last season on this show, I covered both WWF WrestleMania X8 and WrestleMania 19 in a double-header episode for the ages. Remember the murderous rampage against the construction workers and police officers in revenge mode? Man, I still don't know what the hell that was supposed to be. Today, we turn the page and begin the next chapter of WWE's tag team partnership with the Nintendo GameCube. This is WWE Day of Reckoning. How does this title compare to the previous entries in the GameCube's wrestling catalog? Are we about to discover the next legendary main eventer? Or is this an overrated, overappreciated, midcarder at best, thrust into the spotlight before it was ready? There's only one way to find out. Welcome to Triangle X Squared Circle, the Wrestling Game Retrospective Series. Every video here on 616 Entertainment is made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you enjoyed the show here today, consider signing up. You'll get early access, exclusive videos and podcasts, and more. Pro Wrestling Tees has the merch. As always, thank you for watching. 2003's WWE WrestleMania 19 may have featured one of the craziest and most off-the-wall season modes in wrestling game history, but from its graphical style to its gameplay, from its unbelievable roster to its myriad match types, WrestleMania 19 wasn't just a step up from its predecessor. It was a massive leap. When a sequel hit store shelves just 11 months later, fans had to wonder if this third game in the series could replicate such a jump in quality. And yes, this is the third WWE game to hit Nintendo's boxy little purple console. We went from WrestleMania X8 to WrestleMania 19 to Day of Reckoning. I wonder where they dropped the WrestleMania titling. Maybe because WrestleMania season is in the spring and these games don't typically drop until the fall? Maybe because some of the biggest names on the WrestleMania 20 card had left the company far before this new game released and couldn't be featured in any of the marketing? I don't know. If you line them up, WrestleMania 18 and 19 are GameCube games. WrestleMania 21 was an Xbox game that I covered recently. It's a horrific pile of garbage. And there is no WrestleMania 20 game at all. What an inconsistent, annoying approach to titling. But you don't care about all this, do you? You don't need to be told that Day of Reckoning is another Yuke's-developed, THQ-published WWE game, right? We've been through this. So let's skip it. Let's dive right into the heart of the matter, and let me drop a bombshell right here in the early going. Are you ready? Here it goes. WWE Day of Reckoning is to the GameCube series what SmackDown Just Bring It was to the PlayStation series. I know, that's a bold claim, but I can back it up. SmackDown Just Bring It was the first game in the franchise to release on the PlayStation 2. It was the third entry in the series on a brand new generation of consoles. Expectations were through the roof, and then the gameplay was practically the same. There weren't really any new match types to speak of, and the story mode, while innovative in its first-person perspective, was extremely short, disappointing millions of fans who were coming from SmackDown 2's seemingly endless season mode. Day of Reckoning is the third game in its franchise. The gameplay is practically a carbon copy of WrestleMania 19's. The number of new match types adds up to a whopping 1, with the spotlight shining on bra and panties. No elimination chamber, no buried alive match, no. Bra and panties. And I don't want to hear that I'm expecting too much when it comes to a buried alive match, as the Survivor Series arena here in the game features the grave right next to the stage. It's right there, man. We've got a story mode that will bore you to tears, more on that later, and I'm just gonna drop this right here as well. Day of Reckoning's roster sucks. WrestleMania 19's pool of 45 playable wrestlers wasn't massive, but it was absolutely stacked with legendary names. Day of Reckoning's playable character count tops out at just 40 wrestlers. We've lost Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, the Dudley Boys, Hurricane, Goldust, Lita, Scott Steiner, and more. In their places are Garrison Cade, the Basham Brothers, Mark Jindrak, and Val Venus. I'm sorry, I mean no disrespect, but this shit sucks. I do mean disrespect to Val Venus. Fuck Val Venus, what a loser. But everybody else, you're cool. It's just that the roster overall is a downgrade. I mean, for God's sake, this is late 2004. The WWE champion on television is John Bradshaw Layfield. Guess who isn't in this fucking game? Jesus Christ. Do you see what I mean? I recognize and even respect the fact that Day of Reckoning's gameplay is great. It's just the WrestleMania 19 gameplay, after all, a game I really enjoy, but everything surrounding the gameplay has either not evolved or, in some cases, has gotten worse. Now, I have more to complain about, so if you're a huge Day of Reckoning fan and you're really upset, you're taking this personally for some reason, I need you to understand that I am not saying this game is bad. I'm not saying that at all. I will reiterate. The gameplay is great, and that's what's most important, above all else. But with a retrospective like this, we are looking back at the entire picture. We're comparing the game to what came before it, and eventually, we'll get into what came after. In many areas, Day of Reckoning falls short. That's just the reality of the situation. I mentioned the story mode earlier, and here's where I'll spend a little more time on it. If you're hoping this is a big turnaround, it isn't. The story mode sucks. We start off by creating our very own WWE superstar and selecting a brand we'd like to compete for. As a rookie, a noob, a jabroni, we're brand new. We don't get to just step into the spotlight and main event SummerSlam. No, we're gonna hit the house show circuit, competing against generic nobodies. Every match comes with a task like hit your finishing move or reverse 2 grapple attempts. After spending far too long on the live events, we get a crack at Sunday Night Heat. Time to up the ante, right? Time to gain some freedom. Nope. Even after the game tells you to your face that it's aware that what you're doing is boring, it tells you to keep doing it. Work Matt Hardy's leg. Hit your finishing move twice. This is ungodly boring. There's zero substance here. Noted sex pest Vince McMahon telling me he doesn't care about anything I've done anywhere else, none of that matters, and that here, I'm a nobody. I was like, oh, they should have just called this WCW Star Signs with the WWF Simulator. That's what it feels like. Eventually, depending on which brand you chose at the beginning, you'll either get involved with Evolution or the Ministry. It's worth noting that there are no vocal performances in the story mode at all. Dialogue is delivered through text 100% of the time, which I find unacceptable, seeing as though WrestleMania 19 featured plenty of voice acting. When it comes to commentary during matches, there is no commentary during matches. The licensed soundtrack is great at first. I mean, who doesn't pop when they hear Breaking Benjamin or Zebrahead in a WWE game? But it gets old really fast. There are only 10 songs on the entire soundtrack, and the song changes between every loading screen. There are tons of loading screens here, so the songs are constantly starting over from the beginning. The songs play over the menus, they play during story mode cutscenes, they play during your matches. Eventually, you can't fucking escape it. I had to go into the options and turn the music off. I'm not kidding. It was driving me crazy. Positives. Let's talk about what's good, outside of the game playing really well. Graphically, Day of Reckoning excels. The lighting effects have been overhauled with deeper shadows and richer colors. I personally prefer the look of WrestleMania 19 with its brighter, exaggerated style, but Day of Reckoning definitely looks more realistic, if that's your thing. There's a negative effect that pops up when a devastating finisher is landed, and I really enjoy the fact that this happens very rarely. It makes it feel special when it does occur. Create a Wrestler mode here is super deep, without a doubt the best CAW mode on the GameCube thus far. That's a plus. And as I've bragged about in the past, the GameCube has always been the home of a fantastic Hell in a Cell match. If you don't think this pedigree I landed through the roof of the cage is a 10 out of 10, lose my number. I'd go as far as to say that all of the arenas look excellent, from the big and flashy WrestleMania 20 stage, all the way to the basic and bland house show set. I appreciate the variety. These arenas, all of them other than Raw and SmackDown, need to be purchased with cash earned from the story mode, so yeah, you have to play the story mode to enjoy these arenas, unfortunately. I think the single best thing to come from Day of Reckoning's existence, honestly, might be the John Cena commercial.
There's a new game, and it's tearing the streets up. Lace your boots if you think you can keep up. Bra and panties match with a diva stripped down. Build your character so strong, opponents skip town. But y'all rookies got a lot to learn. You ain't guaranteed fame, what you get you earn. It's a school of hard knocks where you pay your dues. Toughness is measured in your black and blues. Starting small time gyms where your chances are slim. Or rocking a leather belt laced with gold trim. The world title, you got the guts to take it. It's a cutthroat game, very few make it. You into weak games, man, this ain't you. This is real life passion, THQ. A Legends roster stacked with Hall of Famers. Tough enough to beat even polished gamers. A bunch of superstars, SmackDown and Raw. They ready to fight, we gon' crack down your jaw. I'm your number one choice, man, your boy is sick. With moves so hot, I light up your joystick. Everybody else is lame, dude. They can't see me, I be running the GameCube. Day of Reckoning's coming, remember I told you. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. GameCube.
Rated T for teen.
There you go. See, I'm putting Day of Reckoning over. It's a fine game. I just think it has a little higher of a reputation than it really deserves. Can anyone tell me why the character select screen is not in alphabetical order? What was so bad about that simple convenience that they needed to remove? Look at some of these faces. Are you trying to tell me that this resembles Edge in any way? Shawn Michaels looks like he was poorly sculpted from clay. What is with... You know what? I'm sorry. I'm done. It's a good game. It's fun to play. The different sets and arenas look excellent. We've got the tried and true steel cage, Hell in a Cell, tables, ladders, and chairs, Royal Rumble, and more. The issue is that there's almost literally nothing new to do here at all. As a singular video game, it's good. But as a sequel, as the third installment in a franchise, I don't think you can look at this as anything but a disappointment. It's a graphical update, it's a roster refresh, and a terrible one at that. I just feel that for the first time ever on the GameCube, WWE had found its Madden equivalent. There's barely anything going on here differentiating this from the prior installment, and that kinda sucks. You know what didn't suck? The reviews. Critics enjoyed this game, lauding the graphical leap but burying its selection of wrestlers. Hey, where have I heard that before? The game sold about 450,000 copies, a far cry from the 2.8 million that its PlayStation 2 brother moved, but like I said at the top, the GameCube itself didn't sell well at all, so the install base was much smaller to begin with. 1 year later, another sequel would arrive. WWE Day of Reckoning 2 would be the final WWE title released for the Nintendo GameCube. Would the curtains close to a standing ovation, or would WWE be booed out of the Nintendo arena? We'll talk all about it next time. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Triangle X Squared Circle, the Wrestling Game Retrospective Series. This video and many others here on the channel are made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. Sign up now to help me reach the goal of creating a retrospective on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and the history of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. We're really close, and you could be the one to push us over the edge. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.